big busy week for the Penguins. They played 4 games since the last time we talked. And it is just how it's going to be because they are in the final stretch, and it seems like there's a game almost. It's either a game almost every day or a game almost every other day. So, good stretch. The last time we talked was last Monday, and we said, "Oh, they'll easily beat Columbus, and they'll probably lose to the Islanders." Well, they did, but not in the way that we thought.
No.
Let's start with the Columbus game. They were down 4-0, win 5-4 in overtime. They're down 4-0 and score 5 unanswered. Wow.
I mean, the Jackets are like last place in the league, so that was extremely
embarrassing.
Oh yeah, but it's not the first time the Pens have been embarrassing, right?
Yeah. What can you say about this game? I guess it's good that they won. I guess it's good that they scored all those goals, but the way they looked basically the first half of the game was just pathetic.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of overtime, going to overtime. I think 3 out of these 4 went. No. Yeah, 3 of these 4 games we're going to talk about went to overtime. And we can't be going to overtime against teams that were in the playoff race for. Like, you really got to cement that win early. Notes. I basically, it's pretty broad general because I was really disappointed that we barely beat the last place team. However, we did outshoot them 47-27, which was good. I like that. Scrums again, mind you, there's that history, of course, with Columbus. Jari pulled after the 4th goal, and Casey went in and let none in, right? Was that right?
Yep.
Face-offs need some serious improvements. Gino absolutely sucks at them. And I keep track of this because it's important. So one of the things I focus on as a coach is the importance of, and we've covered it before, talked about, moving the puck or chasing the puck. So we tend to be chasing a lot more than we're moving, which is a problem. The lineup, it was weird because I guess we went with 3 full lines and then Bones and Archibald on the 4th. And then we went with 7 defensemen.
That was because of Granlund was sick and Rust was having a baby. So I guess they had not enough forwards and 7 defensemen, which I think.
Well, I would have just brought a defenseman over. They know how to play. They've been playing since they were kids. Yawn.
Just make one of the defensemen a winger or something on the 4th line.
They know how to play it. They can.
Yeah, they can figure it out.
They can figure it out. Well, they didn't start on defense. Most players, are moved from forward to defense once the coaches notice their strengths, or they're just forced to defense, but it's hockey. It's really not that hard. I was just not impressed overall with this game. However, I was impressed with our low turnovers. We only had 4, which was amazing.
That's wow, for once. I believe you said at one point the goal is 5. So for once, I think the first time all year they've actually hit their goal.
They did it, Joe.
They did it.
They did have 25 errors in total, so 21 missed shots. And we have Sydney, who had a goal and 2 assists. He had the most errors, but it was 3 missed shots. So I'm not going to penalize him on that because he was trying, right? And then we have Raquel, Letang, and O'Connor with 3 errors each. Raquel gets off because he had 2 assists, but O'Connor and Letang had no points. Mind you, it's hard to criticize Letang because he's been a force this season despite like what he's gone through. So I give Letang passes on everything unless it's really, really stupid. Then I'm like, yeah.
Okay. Zucker is on a freaking tear. He had 2 goals this game. God, where would this team be without Zucker? My goodness.
Yeah, he had no errors too. So like first star of the game for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And who else scored on, for some reason he was on a line with Crosby and Raquel, Danton Heinen, your boy.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think he's a very smart player. I think he lacks a little bit of confidence issues, and I think that might stem from him not being, a regular skater. Um, but he's got some goodness in him, and I see it. I see it very clearly. He's smart. He can be strong on the puck. I was going to talk about him in another game, his performance in another game, but he's got something special in there. And I mean, I'm not a big fan of him on the fourth line. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. I always get ahead of myself.
Crosby had the game winner in overtime with a nasty slap shot. God, his some of his slap shots lately have been like maximum power. They're looking good.
Yeah, he's definitely increased his confidence on his his shooting.
Good.
You like to
Good.
see it.
Good. Yeah. Did you do missed shots yet?
Yeah,
This game? Okay.
21.
Okay. There's just I mean, there's not much else to say besides there's no reason to be down 4-0 to this team that is actively not trying to play for the last for the get the last spot in the league. So this was, yeah, you won, but this is still not embarrassing. They're just embarrassing, really. The next game, huge. This is something we've been saying a lot, it seems like, with the Islanders. Huge game with huge stakes, and it was extremely disappointing. They lost 4-3 to the Islanders in overtime on Thursday. They had a 3-1 lead in the third period and blew it. They've done
with
this
5 minutes left.
With 5 minutes left. It's pathetic.
In the third. Yeah, that was this game, right?
You know what? They
Yeah. We were up 3-1. We had just 5.5 minutes left in the third. And then Fasching scored, and then Lee tied it up with just over a minute and a half left in the game, forcing us to go to OT.
So they scored 2 goals in basically 4 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes. Pathetic.
To force the game to overtime. Yeah. And this is a team that we have to beat.
Yes.
And this is a team that swept us in our series this season.
Yeah. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. They've done it so many times. I think this is the 9th time, I think, that they've given up a lead.
A lead?
They've given up a lead in the third period, I believe.
I'm not sure. You're the stats person. You know how to
they are 24-5 when leading after 2. So 9 times. So 4 times I believe they've lost in regulation, and 5 times they've lost in overtime when leading going in the third period. That is by far, that is leading the league.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It just, this one hurts. This one hurt. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Gensel scored. Zucker scored again. The guy's on a tear right now. I mean, he's like, I forget what time period they're talking about. Basically, in the last couple of weeks, he's on a scoring pace better than Connor McDavid.
He's literally been our best player all around.
Yes.
Sure, he makes some errors, but he's clutch. He comes through. Sure, Letang's been pretty clutch too with his big overtime goals. Like, he's had a few this season. But Zucker is a complete player, and he also adds a value of, personality to the team, and keeps things light to a certain, like, on the bench. Like, he keeps things fun. I noticed that in his play. He's literally probably the only player out there enjoying himself night after night, is what I've seen. And that's a big problem with playing, and especially at this point in the season when they're, chasing a playoff spot. Like, I laugh hearing myself say that, because it's like, well, what are you going to do when you get to the playoff? Anyways, he adds up. He's the only one having fun, and they need to all find the joy in the game. And again, and that's when they'll all relax and start playing better, and they'll find chemistry. It's just really stressed out hockey, I find. Got to talk about Archibald's goal. It was offside. It went into our bench, and then he gloved it in, and it stood. The goal stood.
That was odd. that was
I'm not complaining.
odd.
I'll take it. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
if that happened against us, it'd be a different story. I said that we were pretty evenly played game, but I thought both teams looked rather weak. I didn't see the best in either. Do you understand? Like I've seen the Penguins play better, and I've seen the Islanders play better. I still find that we're sloppy and disconnected. A problem I have with Gino plays at 25% for the majority of the game, and we may get 2 to 3 minutes at 100% of him. He's very lazy. He's uncommitted. And when he's on, he's the greatest. But I need to see him on for 60 minutes, not 3. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if it's an ego thing. It's frustrating. And if I were his teammate, I'd be calling him out on this. And fans even talk about it. You've talked about it. He is not a 100% player. And we've had him healthy this year. So, like, what's going on? Like, are you just over it? Why'd we sign you for 3 years? Like, I want more from you, Gino. I need more from you, because we've become that much more deadly when you're playing at 100%.
It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. He will give up a turnover and then not even try to go after the players that just took the puck from him. He just gives up on the play. It's pathetic.
It's uncommitted. He's not committed. His head's not in the game. His heart's not in the game. Maybe he thinks he's too big for the game. I don't know. But watching him is dreadful when he's playing at 25%. When he's playing at 100%, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
He needs to do better. Like, we brought him back for 3 years. 3 years for this. Sure, okay, point per game, blah, 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 blah. But imagine what he could do, how much more he could do if he played at 100%. This is an issue. Another thing that I know, unfortunately, Nick Bonino is out for a few weeks. I say unfortunately. I'm not sure if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but when Bones comes back, he can't be on faceoffs. He's terrible at them. Our team is without Carter. Carter's a faceoff king. Sure, he had a few bad games where he wasn't doing well on the dot, but night after night, he's pulling in higher numbers, 75%, whereas like Sydney and Gino are all like around 50 or less, 33 some nights. Bones was terrible. And it's watching him, it's like, no, he needs to be moved off the dot. So when he comes back, I really, really don't want to see him take any faceoffs.
Bonino, I believe, got hurt in this game. This was the game he got hurt. He got hit with a puck in the kidney, got a lacerated kidney, and got surgery. And he'll be out. He's out week to week.
I find that odd because we don't see him go down. Didn't we talk about this?
Yeah.
It just felt odd. It felt odd. He played through the whole game. He didn't seem to be in any pain, and I pay attention to this stuff. So, I mean, sure, wishing you the best, Bones, but it just feels off. It feels off. It doesn't feel, I don't know. The OT was a good period. We saw 2 teams that can play. Definitely. In that overtime, we saw the Penguins looking connected and playing for something. I don't understand why they can't do this for the full 60. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, they had their chances. The Islanders had their chances. The Islanders had a breakaway and Jari stopped it, but then they had another breakaway and scored. So yeah, both teams had chances. But the Islanders come away with a point. Huge win.
Huge point.
And you need to not only win these games, but as you said before, you need to win them in regulation. You cannot, the loser points really make it hard to catch up on teams. You need to beat teams in regulation. And they didn't even beat the Islanders, but at least the Penguins got a point out of it. But still, very, very frustrating to lose this. How are turnovers and missed shots in this game?
Oh yeah. What game? Oh yeah. Sorry. We had 19 total errors, 7 turnovers, and 12 missed shots. I like this. Under 20. I'd like to be closer to 15, but I can dig it. We have Letang, tied with first with Pettersson for 4 errors each. Petrie had 3 turnovers, 1 leading to Fashing's goal. Petrie did have 2 assists, but that turnover, he trash. Letang had 4 missed shots and no points. And then you've got Zucker, Carter, and Kulikov, each with 2 errors. And the only one that had a point there was obviously Zucker with his goal. So low errors, but I don't know. I don't think they didn't play to their best, I don't think.
Yeah. So the next game was Saturday, March 11th against the Flyers. And before the game, they changed the lines.
They did, and they did it, and they've won with this lineup. But I mean, I've been paying attention. Sullivan doesn't keep this lineup consistent. He's been trying different combos through the game. I don't like this. I'm sorry to tell you, Rust is not a first line. There's no chemistry. Jake, Sidney, and Rust. It's not as dynamic as it once was. Never was a fan of it. But Russ needs to go down to the third line. Raquel needs to go to the Can we do the lineup after? I did it finally.
Oh, good. Okay.
Let's do that after we cover the game.
Okay. So what changes they did make was Rust is on the first line with Crosby and Gensel. Alex Nylander was on the second line with Malkin and Zucker, and Raquel is on the third line with Granlund and O'Connor, and the fourth line is Carter centering Heinen and Archibald.
Yeah.
So big changes. I don't know why you put Raquel on the third line. That does not make sense. The only thing okay, we know what they're trying to do. They're trying to have 3 strong lines because they think Granlund apparently is a good third line center. So it's like, well, let's pair him with Raquel and maybe we'll get a good third line there. Okay. Well, at least against the Flyers, the results were there. They won 5-1, but that might be more of a because the Flyers basically suck. What do you think?
And we actually pretty much have their number. Like, I think we've beat them way more times than when they've beat us in our history. But yeah, Raquel, let me tell you, he is one of the best players on this team. He's adaptable. He can make any line look good. I'm still really upset that we tore apart the Zucker, Gino, Raquel line. That was one of the best lines in the NHL at the time. And it was like, who needs it, right? Still, I'm not a big fan of this. I'm not a fan of Joseph being out. We need that young speed, that young energy. We need that. I'm happy to see Pettersson with Letang. I think they're a good duo. I'm not a big fan of Petrie or Ruda. I'll be honest. I don't think they carry their weight. Petrie makes more errors than he does make points. And then same goes for Ruda. Not a fan. Not sure why Joseph is out. Like, he's one of our 3 young players and we're not using him. It's like, what? Sure, he was, kind of not progressing as well in the last few games, but talk to him. What's going on with you, bud? Like, what can we do here? Because his energy and his heart is missing. It's missing. So that was really upsetting. I'm upset about that.
Ever since Kulikov has been on the team, basically Kulikov has replaced Joseph on the team, and Joseph has been benched.
Yeah. And I don't even know if I'm sold on Kulikov yet. I don't think he's really done anything special for me.
What about Nylander? I like him.
I love him. I love his big brother. I've been like campaigning for William to come to Pittsburgh forever. Big fan. He's my favorite player in the NHL since Jumbo's left. But I really think he should be playing up on the first line because we know what happens when Sidney plays with a young gun. But we'll go into that after. Granlund had a good night. He had his first points as a Penguin with a goal and an assist. He's kind of, he's actually not as bad. I don't think he was ever expected to be bad, but I've seen some videos of him on prior teams where it's just like, what do you on a play? And you're like, what are you thinking here? What's your thought process on this? So I'm not entirely sold on him. that Carter had a shot, a breakaway on a short-handed goal attempt, and he literally just kind of launched it at the goalie's chest. I was so disappointed in that. That would have been a huge confidence booster for him, and it would give the fans to lay off, because I don't know if Carter is one that's scrolling on the internet reading comments, because if he is,
don't do it, bro. Don't do it, man.
People don't value Carter because they don't think faceoffs matter, but he is very valuable. You'll notice he starts every overtime with Sidney and Letang. He takes that faceoff. There's a reason for that. So, this is the one. Heinen was in the corner, and he had the puck. He ended up getting tripped up. He got back on his feet, got control of the puck again. I was so impressed in this. What he demonstrated was, where's my notes? Oh boy. What game was this? Philly, yeah. So he's hard on the puck. Like, he's a strong play, hard on the puck, and he stayed committed. He followed through all the way. He fought for that. And I think at one point it was 2 Flyers against him. I was so impressed with him that game. Let's see. He had 1 turnover and 1 missed shot, and no points. But there's some magic in him. He just needs to be tooled right. The game was actually pretty even if you look at the stats, besides penalty minutes and turnovers for us. Like, it was pretty, and of course goals. Yeah. But we're still lacking chemistry, and I know this is the first night of 2 nights that they went with this lineup, but I'm just still not feeling it. I feel it's very rushed and sloppy play and not reading each other well. Gino with that stupid fancy attempt where he passed it through his legs backwards to set up someone else to score when he could have just took the shot himself. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Gino? Like, he frustrates me so much.
He is very frustrating. How are missed shots and turnovers in this game?
13 turnovers, 9 missed shots for 22 errors. I like the missed shots being down, and I think, well, what was our I don't have my phone. I'm on my phone. I can't remember what our shot.
How many shots there were?
Yeah.
The Penguins had 32 shots.
Yeah, it was even 32-32.
Yeah.
So it was all right, I guess. Sidney, had the game-winning goal in this one too, didn't he? No. Grunland. No. Yeah, Sidney did. Okay, Sidney had the second.
Yeah. He had the second. He owns the Flyers. I love it.
I love how he plays against the Flyers, I'll be honest. But we have Rust and Letang with 3 errors each, and Letang had an assist. Rust had no points. Rust doesn't belong on the first line. And it's not that he's a bad player. He just doesn't work with Sidney and Jake. And I mean, even Jake hasn't been Jake. Jake will score a goal and everyone forgets, but I'm consciously watching these players every game, and I'm like, it's just the dynamic is off, and it's just got too comfortable. I don't like it. But yeah, so 22 errors in this game, but a 5-1 win. And you know what? I was on Flyers podcast a couple days before that. I was so awkward.
How did that go?
It was awkward. It was because like the Pens were playing the Flyers in a couple days, so I was just reached out on Facebook, and I'm just like, how do I act professional and not just chirp the heck out of these guys? It was weird. It was definitely weird. It was my first Flyers podcast ever, and it's funny because like on the screen it was all orange, and then there's me, and I'm wearing my Pittsburgh shirt, so it's me with the black and yellow on. And it's just like, yeah, it was weird, bizarro.
Granlund had a goal at almost the end of the game, and the game was already in hand. It was, that just made it 5-1, but still, I think that was important for him. Nice confidence booster. I believe that's his first goal with the Penguins.
Yeah. I said that he had his first points as a Penguin. He had a goal and assist. I'm trying to figure out where he got the assist. I'm not finding it. What's his name?
Granlund.
Oh, that was on the first goal, on Raquel's goal. He was also
okay. Good.
Yeah. So yeah.
So then the next day, also
Another important game.
Another very important game. Very important game because the Rangers are, I believe at the time we're 6 or 7 points ahead of the Penguins for that third spot in the Metro. If you get that
They're
third
six,
spot,
yeah.
if you get that third spot in the Metro, then maybe you avoid the Bruins and Carolina. So, and you end up playing New Jersey,
The Bruins
which,
already clinched.
well, yeah, but you don't want that second wild card. If you get that second wild card, you get the Bruins. So you don't want that. That's 100% disaster. So you get that first wild card, you probably play Carolina. You really don't want that either. So
It's still too tight to even consider where a placement is, because you've got Florida with 73 points, Washington with 71, Ottawa with 70, and these teams are all seem to be getting, especially Ottawa. Ottawa seems to get better every night.
yeah, it's scary.
Buffalo's not
It's
out.
scary.
Detroit's not out. They've got 69 points each. It's still too tight. So
Still too tight, still too early to even think about that stuff.
it
But
really is.
still,
We have 16 games left.
it would be nice to if they beat the
Oh,
Rangers
absolutely.
in
They didn't have to
regulation.
face a team that would smoke us.
And they did beat the Rangers, which just I'm sorry, this was an impressive win. The Rangers,
I don't really agree with you. It went to overtime.
okay, but still, they
No,
beat a good team.
they're a
I
good
think
team. They're with their backup goalie, I think it was. Was it their backup
okay,
goalie?
yeah, Halak played. Okay, so
I mean,
that's
I'm sorry.
true.
I'm the coach, the devil's advocate. I look at all sides. I also look at Gino causing a turnover to lead Kreider to tie up the game with 10 minutes left in the third. Like Gino again. I had a hard time watching this game. I'll be honest. I saw some other stuff that I really didn't want to see, and I was just the life. Have you ever had the life sucked out of you? And I was just like, I'm over it. Yeah, and then again overtime.
The Rangers on paper are star-studded and loaded, but I think on ice there is something wrong with this
Did you
team.
see Kane? He looked like he was still mentally in Chicago. I felt so bad for him. Like every time the camera panned to him on the bench, I'm like, that man looks sad. I don't know. It's the first game I've watched since he went to New York, but I don't think he's happy with his decision.
Could you imagine? He's played how many years in Chicago? Like a lot.
I could understand. It's weird.
This is his first team outside of the team he's played for.
You're gonna make me cry, and
Yeah.
Patrick Kane's one of my favorite American-born players. So, yeah, it was tough to watch him. But you're right. On paper, this team is solid, and once give them another couple of weeks, they could be deadly. I don't know
about that.
Their goaltending situation. Oh, I definitely do, because you saw a switch in them in this game. We had a really strong start, and then we let up as soon as New York scored their first goal. Right. But it was just, I think both teams were lacking fluidity in this game, especially Pittsburgh. I do not see any chemistry. I see streaks of it, but nothing consistent. I got Gino at 25% again. Russ needs to be demoted. And then I struggled to watch the rest of the game. I got to stay off Twitter.
Did you see when Trouba did a really solid hit on Nylander?
I missed that.
Okay, so Trouba did a really solid hit on
I've seen your
Nylander.
tweet. It was clean, right?
Okay, it was a clean hit, but then I think afterwards he hit Zucker. He hit him with the stick and actually broke his stick, but there was no penalty called. What happened was basically a brawl happened after that, and after like basically from that point forward, it was almost like WrestleMania. They were just fighting, they were just hitting each other all the time, fighting. And I like to see that. They stuck up for their teammates.
Yeah, no, I like to see fire in them. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I would rather them stick up for the teammate than just say, "Oh well, it sucks to be you." So hey, they stuck up for their teammate. But yeah, God, this team. I mean, I forgot Kreider was on this team, and he's one of their best players. Lafreniere, I don't think he's doing much, but still he was like, I think, a number 1 overall pick. They got
Becky,
Panarin, Panarin, Tarasenko, Trocheck, Kane, Kako. His team is loaded, but if you have too many of
no,
one
Joe,
type,
it just changed. They just gained a couple new players. Give them some time. It's not going to happen overnight. You do realize
I
that, right?
disagree. I understand your point, but I'm saying you need some.
We face the
You
Rangers in the playoffs, we lose. I will
I don't
bet
know
you
about that.
large sums of money. Large sums.
I think that I think the Rangers would win because of their goalie. Shesterkin is amazing, but I don't think you can't. This isn't fantasy hockey. You can't just have a whole bunch of stars on a team and
Chemistry is
expect
not
them.
built overnight, Joe. Give them some time. This could be magic. You're expecting, oh, it didn't happen tonight. Oh, it was bad first couple of days. Like I'm telling you, as someone that's coached for a long, long time, chemistry. Look at us, for example. Look at us.
I
We have
understand.
done so much
I
good,
understand you need. I
but
understand
no
you need
chemistry.
chemistry. I understand you need time for players to gel. I'm saying they have the wrong type of players. They have too many stars. Too many. It's like they have 6 Malkins on the team. Would a team
That's
win with?
horrible.
Would a team win with 6 Malkins?
At 100%, yeah. At 25%, no.
I,
You got to look at the play too, Joe. You got to look at the play of each player. I found the Rangers to be good once they got motivated, but I found them to be much like us in a sense that they haven't found their flow yet. But I see potential there. I definitely see potential. I respect your point, but I definitely see potential there. Is it Girardi? What's their coach's name?
I don't know.
I should know this stuff. But he looked like he was on the bench, just like it was just a really bad vibe. I just got really odd vibes from the bench, the Rangers
Who's
bench. But yeah, no, I think they potentially could be deadly.
who is
If
this
they
coach? I think that might be an issue too.
what's their coach's name?
Uh,
I got it.
Gerard Gallant. Okay, no,
Yeah,
Gallant is good. Gallant is good, and he's well respected and stuff. But if you had some guy that's like, like new or young or something like that with these group of stars, that would not work. But Gallant can make it work. But still, I'm just saying I think they made a mistake getting Tarasenko and Kane. As silly as that sounds,
it's pretty
but
silly.
we'll see.
I'll give you a pass because I love you.
No,
But
we have a difference. We have a difference of opinion, and that's cool. And I totally get your point. I'm just saying they have the wrong type of player. But anyway,
you're saying I'm saying they don't. So let's just
that's
stick with that.
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So this game did go to overtime, but hey,
Panarin
I'll
took a
take it.
penalty, and then in OT, Panarin took a penalty, I believe.
Yes. That's what got it.
Yeah.
Panarin got a penalty in overtime, which gave the Penguins a 4-on-3, and a 4-on-3 in overtime is basically a guaranteed win for whoever has that power play. Letang delivered. Letang had a nice shot.
Yeah,
and
Letang's so
scored.
super clutch. He's been so clutch despite all the crap he's gone through this season. I love his spirit. I love watching him. Sometimes he's quite messy, but he plays 110% every shift. Every
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah. So does Zucker. Zucker scored again. Guy is on a tear. My goodness, he scores 1 or 2 goals every game. Get this man a hat trick. My goodness. He will not be with the Penguins next
He has
year.
60 goals. How many goals does he have?
He has 24.
That's not a goal or two a game, Joe.
He's had a goal or two a game since for the last 10 games.
I was so impressed in a minute. I'm like, really? I'm not paying attention. Yeah, he's got 24. Yeah, he might catch Sydney at this rate. Definitely.
He might.
Yeah.
How are missed shots and turnovers in this game?
Bad. really bad.
Yeah.
We had 22 turnovers. 22, Joe.
22. Whoa. 22 turnovers. Not turnovers and missed shots, just 22 turnover. Dang.
Yeah,
Woo!
we had 10 missed shots with 32 errors. I'm looking at Sydney and Russ, both with 4 errors, both with 2 turnovers and 2 missed shots. Sydney gets a pass, he had 2 points, Russ 0 points. And then you've got Raquel, Letang and Gino with 3 errors each. Gino had 3 turnovers, 1 leading to a goal. Raquel had 3 turnovers. And who else did I say? Letang had 2 turnovers and 1 goal or 1 missed shot. Gino is kind of brutal in this game for me. Letang gets a pass because he got the game-winning goal. But if you look at okay, so for you know how I like to study lines and chemistry and whatnot, right? You look at point production and error production, and you got to put the pieces where they fit better together. You can't have a line that's with players that are making the most errors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 22 turnovers. That really brought up our average against that first game that was 4 turnovers. That's night and day.
That's crazy.
Now, why do you think turnovers happen?
Well, sometimes the other team is really good at taking the puck, and sometimes you just make really stupid decisions, and sometimes you're just lazy.
But turnover is a difference from a takeaway. A takeaway is when you actually take the puck. A turnover is when you go to say pass it and
Okay, so basically a giveaway. Okay, yeah, either laziness or stupidity, basically.
It's lack of chemistry mainly.
Okay.
And the second word you said, I don't want to say it. I'm not calling this team that anymore because it's just not working for me. But yeah, it is. It's definitely that. And when you look at a game like this against a team like this, taking it to overtime, you know what I mean? Really tighten that up. This is a team that this New York Rangers team that we saw yesterday, our team should have slaughtered. We should have slaughtered coming off a 5-1 win against the Flyers the day before, what's that word? Momentum up. This and that, stakes, high stakes, you know what I mean? So I was a little surprised with, my notes here, we're still lacking chemistry. Sydney and Gino are both weak on the dot. Carter's a force. Gino at 25% again. Strong start, we fell apart. And Russ needs to be moved off the first line because there's just no chemistry there with Sydney and Jake. But yeah, another OT game against a team we don't want getting points.
Yeah. You just cannot. You got to win these in regulation. How are turnovers and missed shots through these four games?
We had, I hate it. We had 46 turnovers and 52 missed shots. That's giving us a total of 1,462 errors in 66 games.
Wow.
That's kind of shocking, right? It's about 22 per game, I think.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, am I right?
Yep.
Yeah, so 826 missed shots in 66 games and 636 turnovers.
Oof.
In 66 games. Our front, okay, you know what? I always slamming Gino, but not this week. Not missed shots anyways. Turnovers, we've got Raquel and Letang both with five turnovers each in 4 games. Zucker only had 1. Only 1. He's just flying,
he's amazing. He's amazing.
Petrie, Carter, Rust, and Gino all had 4 turnovers, so basically 1 per game, even though I think Gino had all 3 in 1 game. I can't remember. So Raquel, that's a third line. Where are we going here? Petrie, that's defenseman. Carter is the fourth line. Where am I? Yeah, 4th line. So we've got high turnover. It's still there's the chemistry's off. As for missed shots, like I said, we had 52 in 4 games. Letang with 8. Letang, I need you to work on that shooter tutor. We got you. And Sydney with 6. Get out on the ice with Letang there too, please, Sid. And Rust with 4. So, and oh yeah, and Gino. Guess how many Gino had?
I'm afraid to ask. How many? Oh, just one. Oh, interesting.
Yes, Gino is cleaning up. I don't know how many shots he took. I should really actually start. I didn't do it from the beginning, so I didn't want to, but like how many shots on, how many shot attempts, and how many missed shots.
Mhm.
But I'm really just focused on the errors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was really nice to see that because Gino was like so many ahead of everyone else on the team. So it's good to see Zucker and Gino tightening up in those areas. Mind you, I don't think Zucker was a really big offender when it came to turnovers. I'd have to check my notes. I don't have them ready. But let's talk lineup.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't mind.
So what do you think the lineup should be?
Okay, so Sullivan finally took a gamble and he mixed things up. I was so happy to see that. And yes, we did win. I don't count the Flyers game. Like they suck.
Yeah, they're awful.
They're really bad. And then of course yesterday's game we went to overtime against a strong team. What I personally think we should do is Jake, Sydney, Nylander, because I remember how well Sydney lines played. I mean, Jake was a young gun. Jake came on as a young gun and he stayed. Rust was a young gun when he came on and played, like, younger players. Nylander's our young gun. Young guns bring the best out of Sydney, and Sydney brings the best out of young guns. And we need some more speed and follow through on that line, because both Sydney and Jake don't. They're not always 100% following through on the play. You know what I mean? So I'd like to see Jake, Sydney, and then Nylander. On the second line, I got to go back to the OG, Zucker, Gino, and Raquel. That line was insanely deadly. And then Russ down on the third line. I think O'Connor and Russ could be magical together. They both have speed. Of Granlund in the middle, because he's been solid on the face. He's been okay on the face-off, but I do recognize nerves are still in there for him. And then I know I love you, Heinen, but the fourth line with Heinen, Carter, and Archibald, I think that's fine for now. If something needs to switch there, we could always play around with the bottom 2 lines. But I think Russ needs definitely to come off. Not saying he's a third liner, but he is not a first liner. And that chemistry is off in that line. And we've got the Rangers again twice this week. And I know Sully's going to run with this because they won.
Right.
But that might change after, because I don't see us beating the Rangers again twice. I don't see us beating them 2 more times. I'm pretty sure the Rangers will get us at least once. And then for the defense, I love Pettersson and Letang. Pettersson's one heck of a hockey player. He kind of went through a rough patch, but like he's rarely makes any errors. Sure, he doesn't get the most point production, but he plays the puck well. Dumo, I mean, I'm not a big Petrie fan, like I said before. And I don't know which way they shoot. I don't have those notes out, but we got to somehow figure out how to get Joseph back in here, because I think Joseph's better than Petrie and Ruda and Dumoulin put together.
Yeah, I don't know if he already made the change with Pettersson and Letang. That would be nice.
Pettersson and Letang have been playing together since the game against Columbus.
Okay. It looks like he has Dumoulin with Petrie, which is
I'm wrong here. I'm wrong. Petrie and Pettersson and Letang have been playing together since the Islanders.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So he did make that change. It looks like he has Dumoulin with Petrie and then Kulikov with Ruda. Yeah, I would like to see Joseph back there on the left side, and I want to see this. I mean, I don't know. Ruda's better than Ruedel, but I want to see that Ty Smith back.
Oh,
you're not a fan?
My heart. You know what? If Sullivan remembers anything from the success we had back then, we had 4 solid lines, we had speed, and we had youth sprinkled throughout the roster. Right now, we have 3 young players. 1 is benched. And by young, I mean under 25. We need, I don't know, I don't understand why he forgot that.
And I don't understand why. Like the only I think the only reason Nylander is in there is because of injury. That's ridiculous. He's a young player, and Nylander has 25 goals in Wilkes-Barre.
Oh no, he needs to stay.
He needs to stay.
Our team is very slow overall. When you watch us play, sometimes we have good finishes, but the majority, we are gassed out. Players aren't following through on the play. They're giving up. They're dumping the puck. They're these whack turnovers because they're tired. And if you ever see when they run on the Penguins bench in the third period, you've got players with their heads down and they're not looking at tablets.
Wow, they're too tired to look at a tablet. Wow.
That just made my day. Oh man, you got jokes, Joe.
I got the jokes.
You do.
This week they have Montreal at home. How is Montreal doing? I'm guessing not good. They're last in the Atlantic.
You got to look at how they've been playing, because they did beat us once this year, I think.
We'll see. It's Montreal at home on Tuesday, and then 2 at New York.
New York games.
Wow. Thursday and Saturday. That's very odd. I don't think I've ever seen 2 games in a row at the same place. That is very odd. And then
we're gonna.
What?
Montreal is on like a 10-game losing streak. Hold on. They're playing Colorado right now at home. So they might they lost to New Jersey, New York Rangers, Carolina, Vegas, Anaheim, LA. But they beat San Jose. But yeah, they have 6-game losing streak. And they play back-to-back. So they're playing Colorado tonight and then us tomorrow.
And then they have Ottawa at home, and that's apparently Ottawa's good now. So that's going to be, and that's going to be very important for playoff in the playoff race. So
you got to watch them, Joe. Well, I guess you will when we play them, but it's crazy. Like, well, okay, they lost to Calgary and Vancouver, but they've beaten the strong teams. They beat New York Rangers. They beat Seattle. They lost to Chicago. They don't show up against crappy teams. They beat Detroit back-to-back. They beat Montreal. They lost to Carolina and Boston. Beat St. Louis.
They're coming on. They're
turning it up, and they're not that far away from us.
They are not. They're coming on. If Jacob Chikrin scores in that game against the Penguins, the people will lose their minds.
Fire Hextall signs.
Fire Hextall. Lots of booze. It will not be pretty if Chikrin scores. So another big week.
I say they go 2-1. 2 wins, 1 loss in the next 3.
I agree. I don't know where that loss is coming from. Probably, you can't beat the Rangers twice at home. Sorry, that just can't happen.
No.
Gosh, the thing about, I mean, it got real chippy on Sunday. They're gonna remember that. I'll always. Well, I mean, you don't forget how much you hate the Rangers or the Flyers or the Islanders or the Capitals or anything. You don't suddenly forget that it's like, oh yeah, I don't remember hating you. So I mean, the hate is there already, but after what happened on Sunday, it could get real chippy. So that's something interesting to look at. And it's just, I love that Zucker is like a tiny dude, and he will take on somebody 2 or 3 times his size with no problem.
Yeah, he's got balls of steel. He's in to win, and he's not afraid of nothing. And that's a player we need on this team, because he's unpredictable in the sense that opposing players do not know how to play him.
Beautiful. Yeah, the thing that really ticks people off about the Granlund trade is that Granlund is signed for the next 2 years at $5 million, which means that basically guarantees that Zucker is gone. But really, Zucker was probably gone anyway. I mean, he's basically
Guys,
playing his way out.
not
We'll
that's
see. We said
bad.
the same thing about Raquel, so last year, so we'll
Did
see.
we?
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
don't. I'd rather Zucker over Gremlin because
Well, unfortunately they're stuck with Granlund.
Gremlin's older. He's
Yeah, but they're
turning
stuck
30.
with him.
Why? Why? Dang it, Hextall.
Yeah, exactly. Dang it, Hextall.
Unless I don't know. What a mess, eh? How hard it would
What a
be to be a
mess.
GM.
What a mess. So
Not so hard to be a terrible GM. Just ask what's his name? Flyers just got rid of their GM. I was hoping Pittsburgh was paying attention. They're like, yeah, okay.
yeah,
I don't know why they're so hung up
get
on
the
this guy.
hint. Get the hint, Penguins. You could fire your GM in the middle of the season. It could happen.
I don't think goalies make the best GMs.
The Rutherford was a goalie.
Yeah, but look
Eddie,
what's going on. And he was good for us, but what's going on in Vancouver?
I don't know what the heck they're
It's
doing in
not the same
Vancouver.
Rutherford. I'm telling you.
Especially at the trade deadline. That was a disaster. They have no shot of making the playoffs, and they actually added pieces. It was really weird.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
They're bizarre. They're bizarre. Yeah, something's going on there. Rutherford is not what he was.
No, and
And
how they treated the coach. No,
yeah, that was not cool. But like I think they refused to trade with the Penguins just out of spite. And you don't do that. You don't do that. You do
seriously,
what's
you
the
think
best.
that?
I seriously think that Rutherford refused to trade with the Penguins because that ended badly. Just a guess. Just a guess.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. You're right. Yeah.
And if you're doing that, if you're refusing to deal with a team out of spite, you're in the wrong. You're not. You shouldn't be in that position. You do not let your personal
Oh
feelings
man,
get in the
owners should
way.
be all over that, saying, you know what, that's not the right attitude to have. Because
Exactly.
when you leave a team, regardless, you got to have a blank slate moving on for the success of your new team. And you don't want to burn your bridges, especially when like the
Exactly.
NHL recycles GMs and players or coaches so much. Don't burn your bridges. However, I'm pretty sure Hextall has torched his bridge with now 2 teams, though he's still with ours.
You think he burned a bridge with Philadelphia? Because I
Oh
don't think
yeah,
they like him there.
they
Yeah,
don't like him. They
they
hated
hate
him,
him
man.
there. Yeah, and they hate him here. And yet
We hate him there.
somehow we kept him. Somehow we hired him and then kept him, even with a new owner. That was very curious.
Yeah, you need a comedy show, dude. You're killing me right now.
Okay, so we will see. We will see how this week goes. Another busy week. This is fun. I like hockey every other day. I like it.
Mhm.
And on the good days too, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. That's when hockey should be played. Hockey should be played every day, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. That's the schedule.
What about it? What about you're gonna have 45 games every Tuesdays?
Yeah.
I know you just watch the Pens, but
Yeah, I'm cool with
I
that.
like to watch other teams so I know how to play
Yeah,
them.
but doesn't it seem that way though? Doesn't it seem like those are the most popular days to have games?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You
Yeah,
rarely see games on like, yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes there's games on like Fridays and Wednesdays and
like even
Mondays and
tonight, there's only
Sundays.
3 games. Yeah,
They should spread it out. They should spread it
they
out,
really
but they
should.
don't.
I have to
Yeah.
make a note. I love your hat.
Oh, thank you. They did wear these the Winter Classic jerseys against Philadelphia
Yeah, I noticed that.
with the yellow helmets.
I don't like that.
Not a fan of the yellow helmets. Yeah,
Not
I
at all.
don't,
It
too
gives me
much yellow.
flashbacks to like the Kings with yellow helmets and then Vegas with those aluminum. Do you remember the Vegas aluminum?
Those are crazy. Those Vegas helmets and those
I'm
unis.
not.
Yeah.
No, it's too distracting. Like I remember we played Nashville. Nashville had I think the yellow domes on,
Right,
and it's
right.
just too much yellow, and it's like, ugh. I know we were black, but black and yellow, but it was just too much. It's just like the helmets do me in. Like keep it black or
Yellow,
white.
yellow's not a good hockey color. Yellow and ice don't go together. So,
No, you think of like a dog taking a piss on the snow.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to say it. But I'm glad. Yeah, but you went there. So I was thinking the same thing. It's like, yeah, you basically have a urine on snow. That's basically it.
Yeah, it's not the
That's what
best
you
color.
think
And
of.
I mean that's kind of our color. But yeah, the yellow buckets, not for me.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
All
I
right.
will talk to you next week.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye.